I did not correctly pay for parking and almost got a fine, but did not. I can feel 3 eggs, like one here, one big one here, and then another one here. Really hurt. So you can see why it's difficult when someone asks you, so what does an OT do? And even when they specify with kids, what does an OT do? It's like so many wonderful things we can do. Good. Oh, I'm gonna hit the washing machine. I was walking away from the traffic, and then now I'm just walking towards my noise, the washing machine. Good morning, future OTs and fellow OTs. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Talia and I'm a new grad occupational therapist, and this is a week in my life. So it's Monday, and at my work, we currently work 4 days, 8.5 hours, and then one day is called our admin day, where we work 4 hours flexibly. That's to get reports done, any other session planning, catching up on any notes we haven't done or emails, that sort of thing. So admin type stuff. And we can do that at home or in the clinic. Most people do it at home, so I'm at home today. And then so also on this day, that allows us to go to any appointments we have, because otherwise we work very long hours every other day of the week, which makes it hard to go to appointments or go to the bank or anything like that. So I have a lot of things I want to get done today, so I'll take you along. Another joy of adult life is I'm waiting for an electrician who, classic, you know, they can't give you a specific time. They have to say between 8 and 12 depending on how all their other jobs go. So I'm just kind of hanging around here from 8 to 12, but I have a lot of work to do, so it's okay. I'll just be waiting here for them. So today on my agenda, I have workout. This has not happened yet. Wash towels, bath mats, and tea towels. I'm on that. Waiting for electrician. It's happening as we speak, waiting. Session planning. So I've found that on this day, I like to try and session plan for my entire week. So it's just done. So I'll show you a bit more of that. Finalize video. Oh yes. Today I need to find some time to film a video on, I think it's going to be time management, organization, those types of tips. Vlog day. I'm on top of it clearly. Groceries, I have to go get groceries, film the video, practice cello, clean the bathroom, vacuum the bathroom, email someone, create a study, reading and exercise schedule, because I have a lot of things I'm wanting to do but not much time. When I come home from work after 6 o'clock, I usually have a rehearsal at 7, so I have time to like maybe make food, scoff food, say hello to people. How's your day? Yeah, me too, bye. And then I get home, shower and go to bed. So I have some time in the morning. If I get up at 4 or 5, then I have maybe 2 extra hours to do things. So I'm really wanting to do some studying, some reading and some exercise somewhere in there. Next is look into HECS repayments. Oh, the joys of studying and now having to pay for it. And find a book to start journaling in. I've been wanting to kind of write down my experiences and things I learn daily, and I've been doing it a little bit on my phone, but I really just need to pick a notebook so I can do it every night and have it become part of my routine. So do any of you guys journal when you're on placement or when you started? I think it'd be really interesting to kind of put it all together as like my first year as a new grad OT and like read through it and see what learnings and experiences and funny things happened. And I don't know, yeah, I just thought it'd be a good exercise for myself, and then maybe if it has anything good in it, something good to share at some point. Yeah. Alrighty, welcome to my diary. This year I have a very exciting addition. I have a full page diary and I feel very important. So I was very much looking forward to having a big massive diary like this. And at first, the first few weeks, I was worried, oh geez, did I really need to buy this? I'm not really using it. But now that I have my Mondays and I have my clients, and yeah, I've really started to use it. So how I like to use it, so today's Monday, this is today. As I said before, I like to session plan. So what I will do is write down my schedule for today, like my to-dos. If I want to block out time to do a report, I don't think I have any reports that need to be done, so it's just session planning today. I would block out that time, but then I would write a list of all the clients I'm seeing this week, and then on the days and times that I'm seeing them, I then write their name and I write out their session plan. But here on Monday, so I'd tick them off, you know, John Smith, Jane Smith, Jane Doe, John, what are all the fake names? I can't remember the fake names. So I just tick them all off as I go, but then on each day in their appointment time, I will have their little session plan done. So beetle building, Play-Doh, strengthening activities, making a speedo diet, like I'll have all the activities listed, so then on the day I know exactly what I need to do and what I need to get out for the day, and I can tick things off. And then I sometimes write little post-its for things that were said, and then sometimes in the last session I will have written like a little post-it or a little note that I wanted to remember to include in next session. For example, they really wanted to play a penguin game, or I wanted to look into something for the parent about where they could buy something, or just ask the advice of the whole team and just get back to them. So then I like to stick that note, either leave it on the day I wrote it, and so I can view it at the end of the day if it's something I can get done that day, or I then try and figure out when's their next session, because some people are weekly, some people are fortnightly, etc. So I then try and put that sticky note, if it's something to include in the next session, onto the day where the next session is. So then I'll see it today when I'm doing session planning and remember to include it, or remember to schedule the time to contact that teacher or that principal or whoever. And so I found that system has worked well for me. I'll keep you updated, but so far it's working, keeping a little note to myself and attaching them to my clients' sessions in the next week. Okay, so I'm gonna get started with session planning. So this involves me looking back at my last session with them if I have seen them before, and we do it as kind of like soap notes. So it ends with a plan, what we're going to do next. So when I do have time, I do try in that plan section to write my session plan or include notes and ideas that I do want to include. So my first step would be, for my first client on Tuesday, is looking at what was their last session note, and I sometimes write session ideas in a separate Word doc, so I'll go and have a look at that, cross-reference, and if I haven't seen them before and it's a handover case, I'll look at their handover report and I can read through their goals, look at their progress through their session notes with the previous OT, and then create and choose resources and activities that are following along with their stage of progression and are working to meet their goals. But I also like to check in and make sure with the family, you know, these are still goals that we're interested in doing. Would you like us to keep going and working on shoelaces, or is there another area that's popped up like emotional regulation that you'd like us to address? So yeah, that's kind of my process. So if I know we're working on fine motor skills and that they've been doing the kind of very similar activities for a while, I try and mix up a little bit. I know some kids really like the familiarity, Google help. Familiarity didn't really help me. You know what I mean. Some kids feel more calm and confident in activities that they've done multiple times, so I won't necessarily go and do a whole new session plan and change all the activities that they've been doing for a while. I might just switch out one, or if I'm using visual pictures to give them options, I might just put in 2 new choices, and so if they're interested in them, they can put them up and choose to do them for that session. So just giving them those options, you know, trying to keep it fun, enjoyable, interesting, all those nice things. So that's what I'm going to do right now, some session planning. Update. Electrician has come, they're going to the shop, and they're going to come back. But it's annoying because I need to go do grocery shopping and I need to film a video, and I don't really want to be talking in my room sounding a little bit strange, talking to myself about time management skills. Cassie suggested I say I'm on the phone, but I think it'll sound still a little strange going, this is how you manage your time, effective time management strategies. Not that that's exactly how I sound, but pretty similar. So just awkwardly sitting at my computer whilst he's here, you know. answering emails, doing nothing. Maybe I'll just watch some TV. Yes. Good morning, everyone. So this morning I have a few therapy sessions, and then we have Tuesdays are our team meetings, clinical meetings, admin meetings, supervision. So we have like a chunk of time in the middle of the day where we get all together for our meetings and then supervision. And then this afternoon I need to make some calls, and I think I have an initial assessment that might be a functional assessment. I'm not sure. I think I need to get some more handover from some other clinicians about what they would like me to do in this session. So a few things have transpired since we last caught up. On my way to get the mail, getting your letter, Martina, if you see this, it was worth it. I knocked my head on some wooden panels, or like planks that come down underneath the house. I ducked, but not ducked enough, and I smashed the top of my head, and I heard like a cracking sound, and I kind of like fell to the ground being like, oh geez, was that my like head that made that cracking sound? And I was like, if my head had cracked like that, would I be able to think, was that my head? And then I came back later to like just look, because I kept thinking I know I heard like a crack and nothing had fallen on the wood, but I had hit it hard enough that the one I must have hit with the most force has actually like shifted. I'll show you. So I have like 3 eggs, a big one in the middle, one here, and then one at the side. This is just placement all over again, except it's not Helen hitting me with her car accidentally with the boot of her car. But yes, I still ended up going to rehearsal last night. I sat for about 10 minutes, which I probably should have sat longer with ice on my head, but I was kind of determined to go. So I went, and I was okay. And I somehow motivated myself to get up this morning at 5 AM and work out on our deck. And I'm feeling alright at the moment. I'm hoping I can keep that motivation. Usually I can't push myself to wake up an hour earlier than my normal start time. I'm used to getting up at 4:30, 4:20 for uni, and then here for work I can get up about 6. So I only got up at 5, so maybe my body's okay with getting up an hour earlier. We'll see. I think I'm gonna try and work out again tomorrow, but on Thursday I'm headed to a training course on the Gold Coast, which is a few hours drive, so I'm gonna have to get up pretty early and head off there, and I'll tell you more about it on Thursday, but let's get to work right now. Good morning, everyone. I've just hit my head again. In a different spot in my room this time, on this thing that's like part of my desk. I bent down to put something in my laundry basket, then get my head back up and hit that nice sharp edge, and now we have a new egg starting up here. I don't know why this is happening. No. I'm too tired for this. Okay, so I've just got home from work. It's been a very long day. I think the last time I checked in was when I was like on the verge of tears. I was just in pain and I was tired and I was like, no. So luckily I had a break this morning. I didn't have any clients until about midday, so I had some time to kind of be in my room, do some report writing, some notes, some more admin things, some resourcing, kind of get myself back together and ready for my sessions today. So I had some really great sessions today, so it definitely made up for me injuring myself. Like, it was my fault. I walked into it. There's no one else to blame for my clumsiness. But I thought I would catch you up on what I did yesterday in my assessment, which was an adult assessment. So this time I used our adult questionnaire that we have at our clinic. Just goes through a few ADL areas, some basic information we gather on each area. Also used the Brookvale living assessment, so I kind of used a modified version of that, and so that has a list of different areas and occupations that we would expect adults to be engaged in, and so I'm going through and looking at, are they needing lots of support, or is it satisfactory and they're independent or have the correct amount of support currently, so I can find areas that this particular person needs additional help in or doesn't need any help in, so I can write my report to support additional funding to have more support services, some more funding to access therapy sessions as well. So I also use the mocker in this assessment, which is a cognitive assessment, which I had done back on placement, so it was nice to go through it again. It only takes about 10 minutes. And then I also did a tea and toast assessment, which I hadn't done since university. So that is a great functional task if it's relevant to your client. You know, some people don't make tea and toast, so maybe it's not appropriate then, but it's something familiar for a lot of people that we can see a lot of different skills, such as sequencing, planning, problem solving. So the toaster was, we went to turn on the kettle, they'd plugged it in, turned it on, and they went to switch the kettle on, but for some reason it still wasn't turning on. So then that's an opportunity to see how they problem solve and go back through and check all the things that they had done at first and see if they'd all been completed successfully. So what had happened was the plug wasn't fully pushed in, it was hanging out a bit, so it wasn't pushed in enough for the kettle to turn on. So we give them some prompting if they're having trouble problem solving, or they're missing a step, or obviously step in if safety is a concern. Also, for some initial assessments, we also need to do a home visit. So then I'll be doing a home visit later on to supplement the information I got today and to see some more skills and occupations in practice in their natural home environment, because not everyone's kitchen looks the same. So completing the tea and toast assessment in a hospital's kitchen or the clinic's kitchen isn't going to be exactly the same as their home kitchen. So it's still nice to see them in their familiar environments and how they operate and how they problem solve as well. So this afternoon I saw a few clients back to back, and I had some great sessions around toileting, shoelaces, a few things on handwriting. I did some feelings bingo, where it is similar to normal bingo, except you are looking at facial expressions. So the child and I have our separate bingo sheets that has, I think it was 3 by 3, so 9 different facial expressions, and we take turns at making an expression. We have to identify it and then see if we can match it to our bingo sheet, and then just as bingo works, if you get 3 in a row or all of them ticked off, then you win. And so it was a great time. It was a nice segue into, when do you feel embarrassed, or show me how you feel embarrassed, give me an example from your life. There's a ghost that likes to open our doors. There was no one there except a ghost. So it's a great time. It's a great time. Feelings bingo, it's a great time. It was also an opportunity for me to identify any emotions, such as, I think, embarrassed came up as something they weren't fully comprehending, so I was able to then bring up some supplementary videos that had kids talking about when they feel embarrassed and seeing if I could relate that to their life and help them to identify times they might feel embarrassed. I think I gave the example of turning up to school in your pajamas. That might be embarrassing. Some kids might rock it, so maybe it's not embarrassing for them. And then my next session, I had a wonderful time using play therapy techniques where I let the child take over, which sounds a little bit anxiety provoking maybe to some, letting the child, you know, run wild and do what they want. But it was actually a really nice session, as this was my second session with them, and we still were really building that trust and rapport, which can be really important for some clients before they feel kind of safe and comfortable delving into, you know, more complex or tough or boring topics such as feelings and emotions and regulation. So I felt with this child we needed more time to build that trust and rapport. So this session was purely play, and we had such a wonderful session. Gave me a hug at the end, and they said they had so much fun and they couldn't wait for our next session. So that just warmed my little OT heart and made me smile definitely for the rest of the day. And at the end of the day, had some finger strengthening therapeutic exercises, working on some money handling change, using change, giving correct change skills. So you can see why it's difficult when someone asks you, so what does an OT do? And even when they specify with kids, what does an OT do? It's like so many wonderful things we can do, and much more than I did today. But overall, at the end of the day, I had a good day, got all my notes done. Good day. All right, so tomorrow, I think that's like almost my OT voice. You'll notice that you have a different voice when you're working with kids, or like your OT voice. Yes, and sometimes it comes out at the wrong time. So tomorrow I am doing some training, which is actually for clinical educators. So people who supervise students on placement. So I'll be traveling a few hours there and back. So I'm quite excited to see what we learn and what CEs learn about, and I look forward to maybe in the future being a CE for students. That's why I'm going to the training, get some skills. We have some students that will be starting at our clinic soon, so it'll be really nice to be on the other side of the situation. Okay, this is scary lighting. How do we go? Oh, we need that. Okay, it is 5 AM and we have been up since 3:45, and we're about to head off to this course. And we are ready to go, and it looks like the drive's gonna be over 2 hours, and we'll see how much longer that gets with traffic and everything. So I will see you there. Bye. We made it. Where I am right now, I don't know. I see some people parking, like there's not many cars here, but then I don't actually know how they're exiting. So that's my next step, learn how to exit by foot the parking lot. So it's 7:30, so we made it here under 3 hours, so that was good. A little bit stressful going on all the different highways, and yeah, but we made it. I'm like an hour early, but now I have an hour to walk across this campus and find where this building is. Hey guys, so it is Saturday today. Yes, Saturday. Correct. Yes. I never know what day it is, and it's on my watch as well, so that's why I look down at my watch all the time, because it tells me. So I think the last time I saw you guys was, or last time you saw me, was Thursday morning when I had got to the university where the course was happening. I did find my way. I did not correctly pay for parking and almost got a fine, but did not, because they now use parking where you don't pay when you first get, you pay when you first get there on these like pay stay parking apps, where you start your parking when you start and then you stop it when you stop parking. But I did not know this, and I was just planning on coming back at the end of the day and like getting a paper ticket and then heading out. But luckily someone was like telling me, oh yeah, I had to do this, and I'm like, what? But I figured it out, and it's all good. There was nothing left on my car, so technically I didn't pay for the first few hours of parking because I couldn't change the start time. But free parking, yes. Sarah is with me. Hi there. She does not want to be on camera. That's why I'm not being like, Sarah's not allowed to be on camera. Sarah does not want to be on camera. That's okay. All right, so the training course went really well. It was really interesting. I got to meet some other OTs, dietitians, speech pathologists, and so it was around developing skills to become or enhance your ability to be a clinical educator or supervisor for students on placement for clinicians in lots of different allied health programs. So I think we had speech, physio, OT, dietetics, exercise, science, a rehabilitation counseling, which I really actually hadn't heard of. Had you heard of?
No,
yeah, no.
That sounds weird.
Yeah, so
Cool.
maybe not say that.
Yeah.
It sounds interesting. So I think they must, I think they had that course at Griffith, where this training program was.
Yeah.
So what I found interesting was, because we've just graduated and we're kind of still almost in that student perspective of what placement's like. It was really interesting to kind of hear the other side of the story, what these CEs who already have experience with students or currently are having their first students on placement with them, what the things they worry about are and what things that they really want help with. And a big thing that came up was a lot of them are quite unsure or don't feel comfortable giving feedback. They don't want to hurt someone's feelings, or a few people had realized from the information we got that they were overloading students with the amount of feedback they would give them all at once. So they really took that into consideration and now are trying to think about prioritizing the type or prioritizing the feedback they give their students, because currently it sounds like they were just listing off every single thing that they wanted to give feedback or that the student could change or improve on, and they've just realized in an exercise that asked us to go through and consider how we receive feedback, whether we take it personally, whether we get upset, and they actually realized that they don't take feedback very well, especially if it's constructive criticism or just flat out criticism. It's made them remember, oh, maybe I shouldn't be doing this to a student, because if I was in their shoes I would break down if I was given this amount of feedback. So it was really interesting hearing that, and I was able to kind of speak up a little bit in our OT session to try and say, when you're giving feedback to a student, really try and give them an opportunity to respond if they'd like to, and explain their reasoning for doing something, because there might be a piece of information that you as the CE might have not realized or considered or forgotten. You know, you're not perfect, I'm not perfect, the student's not perfect, so there might be something that you've forgotten. There might be something just slightly wrong in the student's reasoning that it takes for them to step by step explain it to you, for you to pick out and correct it, and then from then on they get it right every time. So it could be something small that they've just misunderstood or missing, or there could be lots of other things that come out when the student has the opportunity to explain their reasoning, and that also shows you their thought process and what bits of information and models that they're pulling from, and allows you to really see their reasoning, which I think is almost better, like critical reasoning and things like that. Oh, clinical reasoning, critical reasoning, critical thinking. So I really enjoyed it, and I think I will tell you guys more about different things I learned from the workshop later on in future videos. So I got back home about just before 7 p.m, so it was a long drive, and so I decided not to go to orchestra rehearsal on Thursday night. So just stayed home with Sarah, watched Married at First Sight, had a good time. Productive evening. And then Friday I had so many cancellations on Friday for very understandable reasons. A lot of different clients couldn't come in, so I only had, I think, 2 sessions it ended up being. So I did some self-regulation, whipped out the magic hoop, which looks for whole body listeners and people and kids who are on task and focused. It really works a charm with all the kids I've used it in sessions with. I have a magic hoop chart in the room, so they have to earn 5 times 5 tokens that the magic hoop comes around and finds whole body listeners, and then that means at the end that they can choose a game from my cupboards and play, which a lot of kids really want to do. So that's worked well. Did some more road safety and feeding. So I've been trying to read more around OT's role in feeding and how I can be working with these clients and their families surrounding their goals of, feeding, increasing the different types and variety of foods that their child's eating. So a big thing that I was reading was the importance of mealtime really being a calm and non-pressured time or routine. The importance of structure, the importance of, or the benefit of using books and stories and movies that have lots of food in it to try and kind of normalize and incorporate the ideas of different foods within your child's life in different ways. So reading stories that have lots of food, watching maybe cooking shows, I'm not sure. I'm sure there's like kids cooking shows too.
Like Ready Steady Cook?
Yeah, Ready Steady Cook, yeah. Channel 10. In Brisbane, Channel 10. What else was there? Making silly songs or playing music that's related to food at mealtime, changing the names of food. I think they said for like split pea soup, call like dinosaur soup, just trying to make it more enjoyable than the stressful kind of time it can be for some kids. So really trying to make it more fun and enjoyable. So we were working on eating spaghetti in my session on Friday. So beforehand we read a book called More Spaghetti, I Say, and it was about a monkey who was obsessed with spaghetti, and her friend was wanting to play with her, but no, I'm busy eating spaghetti. So it was just all about spaghetti and a bit silly. And then we transitioned into opening up the can of spaghetti and then trying to get the child to feed my fake monkey, which was like a laminate picture of a monkey, cut out the mouth, and feeding the monkey spaghetti. So that was my way of trying to make it engaging and fun. So I'm definitely learning a lot through taking on clients with this type of goal, but I definitely have, you know, much more to learn, and I'm and I'm also seeking advice from the speechies in my clinic who have been really helpful in giving me advice on how they might approach the same type of goal. And right now we are in, where are we? Are we in past Dolby?
Oh yeah, in Jimbara?
No, it's not Jimboomba.
No,
That's back home. We are past
between
Dolby
and Chinchilla.
Between Dolby and Chinchilla. We are off to the Chinchilla Melon Festival, so get excited for that. I'm not excited yet because I'm very tired. So maybe it'll kick in later. I'm trying to be excited, but I don't know, it's not really working yet. Are you excited, Sarah?
I am so excited.
Sarah's
so
very excited. She's ready for some watermelon.
Watermelon!
So I will take you guys there and I will see you there. People just holding something.
They would be up there. It'd be like this the whole time. They would not say no. They're not papaya. I put them in my class and my kids
were. Alright guys, I am back home. It is 5 o'clock. We've been home for a little while now, but I thought I would do a little haul for the earring lovers who watch my channel, because I'm an earring lover and that's what I bought today. Okay, so let's start off with lilac apple jewelry. I've been following Sally's Instagram account for 1 or 2 weeks now, as someone I work with had been telling me about her jewelry and had been wearing some of her earrings, which is so like funky and cool. So Sally's store was actually the reason I wanted to go to the go to the Melon Festival, because I saw on her Instagram that she was going to be there and I wanted to pick up some of her earrings. So it is Lilac Apple Jewelry, and she's on Facebook and she's on Instagram. So I'll do that if you're interested. Okay, cute bag. Oh my god, look at me pretending I know how to haul. Jeez. So got these cute. So these are like fabric. So these are fabric earrings. Focus. classic choice of sloth earrings. I also stopped in at a stall called Strangely Beautiful, as earrings, dresses, stockings, lots of different things. And I was tossing up between some Harry Potter or these earrings that I ended up choosing, but I thought Harry Potter didn't have a wand in his hand, so I didn't feel like it was very clear it was Harry Potter. But then I saw these and I was like, this will be a niche audience of people who will understand these earrings. Not everyone will, maybe more adults than the kids I work with. But these are some Rick and Morty Lego earrings, which I couldn't go past. So I had to pick these ones up, and they feel pretty light. So I'm hopeful that they'll be comfortable to wear then. And so those were from Strangely Beautiful. So the next earrings I got were from Oliver Twitch. I think they're made by Carly Oliver. And I had to stop myself at 2 earrings because I found out that she does come to markets near where I'm living at the moment, so I will be able to maybe purchase some more in the future. But I ended up choosing these 2 stunning pairs. I hope the sparkles are going to show up well on camera, but apparently they're made with resin or something to do with resin, so I don't know, they were just stunning. She had so many different colors, shapes, color combinations, sizes. So I went with these 2 and I'm really excited to wear them. They're gorgeous. So the brand was Oliver Twitch, and yes. Alright guys, that brings me to the end of this week in a life of a new grad occupational therapist. If you've liked this video, if you learned something, if you've enjoyed it, that's good. And please consider giving this video a like, sharing it with people, commenting down below, and most importantly subscribing so you can keep up to date with what's happening and the videos I post. So I will see you in the next one. Check out my socials down below, and I'll see you later. Bye.